Do you do certain medications? Well, this anime is about a woman that does a lot of medication, if you know what I mean. And no, I'm not talking about marijuana. Mao Mao is a young apothecary with a hunger for adventure and a taste for disaster. She has learned so much about medicines, potions, and she even experiments on herself to the point that she has scars all over her body. She gets involved in an unfortunate kidnapping incident and has to spend the next couple of years in the Emperor's house with 4 baby mamas. Crazy, isn't it? Glistening and expressive. What beautiful eyes we see for a first scene. A beautiful young woman who we can tell has learned all her apothecary skills from her father squats on a field of different flowers, if this is how farm girls are. I might grab me one for a wife. She is summoned by her father and told to deliver medicine to the Verdigris house. She's got this nonchalant bad girl voice, and this looks in her eyes that keeps me wondering. She's the protagonist, of course. Her father tells her she should be careful of kidnappers, right after we see a 30 milliseconds glimpse of her being kidnapped. She rushes over to the Verdigris house. It looks like a palace, but we clearly see people being extorted of their own money. All I can see in the Verdigris house are beautiful and well-endowed, eye-catching and properly endowed women, okay? Maybe I was wrong. I think it's a brothel. I forgot to mention, her name is Mao Mao, our cute young protagonist. She races out of the Verdigris house and gets to a field of flowers. She's kidnapped as she was busy admiring the flowers on the field. 3 months later, and Mao Mao finds herself in the rare palace, a special palace for the women who are to give birth to the emperor's children. Obviously, men aren't allowed unless you're the emperor. His kin, and a royal eunuch. Mao Mao gives direction to a fellow servant who is an illiterate. The servants here are mostly illiterates and are only taught the normal etiquettes, in order for them to please the concubines in the rare palace. High-catching and sweet-looking servants can also become prospective baby mamas for the emperor and his kin. Eyesores remain servants. Mao Mao is pretty, but she has no endowment. She makes ironing boards jealous. While washing, Mao Mao is told about a beautiful eunuch. And to be honest, this guy is too good-looking to be a eunuch. She's also told about the deaths of the children of the emperor, and how the 2 newborn prince and princess are also sick. Mao Mao speculated that it's not a curse, but just a not well-diagnosed illness or a poison. Curiosity beats Mao Mao, and she goes in to check what's going on with the emperor's children. She runs into a gathering of people. We hear a resounding slap. It's the mother of the prince dusting the face of the mother of the princess, saying she cursed her child because she gave birth to a boy and she gave birth to a girl. Mao Mao notices something that the royal physician and I couldn't place our finger on. Even after watching the scene over and over again, she mumbles in a way to notify the people of the palace as she makes her way out of there. Well, I don't know if a child died or something, but we see a woman crying heavily on the floor while it rains cats and dogs. Yes, painfully the male child passed away. The beautiful eunuch converses with the mother of the female child about a written note found by the window of the physician. It's written on the note a powder being used on the babies is poison and should be kept away from the children. The baby mama wants the anonymous tipper to be found. The beautiful eunuch remembers that at the commotion a while ago, he hears a young lady murmur to herself about writing something. He smirks, devilish with a spice of trouble. The serving girls are summoned by the beautiful eunuch. You know how girls are. At the sight of him, they act like butter in need of spreading. Knowing in fully well that the serving girls are illiterates, the beautiful eunuch writes on a paper saying they should wait. He then says out loud that they can all go. Mao Mao is the only serving girl left standing. The beautiful eunuch tells her to quietly follow him. She pushes his hand off her shoulder and dusts her shoulder. The beautiful eunuch takes Mao Mao to the mother of the princess, the only surviving child. She thanks her for saving her daughter's life. Mao Mao tries to deny, but the beautiful eunuch clears her straight up with the facts he has gathered. She tells them she's an apothecary and knows a little about poison. Mao Mao is promoted to be the lady-in-waiting for the baby mama. The mother of the princess is Lady Gyokuyu. Sorry, my bad. It's concubine Gyokuyu. A report which entails that the soldiers were poisoned by some hoodlums using the food cooked by the community was sent from the soldiers' camp to the beautiful eunuch. The messenger asks the beautiful eunuch about the new lady-in-waiting that concubine Gyokuyu hired. The beautiful eunuch devises a delusional way to keep Mao Mao in check. Mao Mao is to report to the JP Pavilion, which is the territory of concubine Gyokuyu. She's interrupted by the beautiful eunuch who tries to use his charms to seduce Mao Mao. But bro, Mao Mao was not even moved. She felt an instant irritation and continues her movement to the Jade Pavilion. She arrives at the Jade Pavilion and meets Hong Niang. head of the lady-in-waiting. Mao Mao is given a tour of the Jade Pavilion. She's introduced to other lady-in-waiting. Mao Mao is summoned by Lady Gyokuyu and the beautiful eunuch. She's told that she'll be testing the concubine's food before the concubine eats. I'm sorry, I keep calling her Lady Gyokuyu. It's concubine Gyokuyu. The tray of food is brought to Mao Mao. She's not testing the food. She's just enjoying her meal with her eyes closed. If I say it's testing, I'm lying. This is pure sensual evaluation. Mao Mao informs Lady Gyokuyu to switch to silver plates because they react to poison. The concubine tells her that she already knew. She just wanted to test her. Mao Mao is so bored because she has nothing to do except for her sensual evaluation. This girl does not know what he has done for her. If I had the chance and her knowledge of poison, I'll be enjoying the king's meal. The beautiful eunuch, I just found out his name though. Oh shit. Can't remember right now, I'll tell you later when I remember. The beautiful eunuch summons Mao Mao and tries to use his looks to charm her. Nothing for him. The beautiful eunuch tries to make Mao Mao eat buns laced with aphrodisiac, but she notices it and realizes he just tried to trick her. Concubine Gyokuyu laughs out loud. I think she knows what the eunuch was planning. Guy thinks he's smart. The beautiful eunuch tells her about the incident in the soldier camp. Mao Mao explains to them that the rear palace is filled with plants that have poisoned in them. The beautiful eunuch asks if she could make an aphrodisiac. Mao Mao is overjoyed because she loves to do experiments with plants. Mao Mao is a mad scientist in the making. I've remembered the beautiful eunuch's name. His name is Jinshi. Okay, I can't let this slide. I don't know. If you've watched the anime Hunter x Hunter, if you have, then you know how Hisoka drools over Killua and Gon. That's the same way Jinshi drools over Mao Mao because she looks at him condescendingly. I don't understand why anime characters have weird obsessions. The next day, Mao Mao is taken to the paper room. I actually mistook the room for a herbs room because we know she has a fetish for everything connected to Mother Nature by root. Her face literally glows up. It's like she has just walked into heaven. It's like that euphoric feeling you get when you're holding big juicy watermelons after a long time. Forgive me. She's so happy to be using the paper so freely. Pen and paper I've been running from all my life. Mao Mao proceeds to make the aphrodisiac. She makes it into a chocolate pills and has a little leftover syrup that she makes into little chocolate cupcakes for herself. She sets out to deliver the aphrodisiac pills to Jinshi, but gets distracted by medicinal plants on a small field in the rear palace. By the time she gets back to the palace, a few ladies already had the aphrodisiac and are going crazy. She delivers the pills to Jinshi. The concubine requests Mao Mao to make some for the emperor. Just before Jinshi leaves, he touches Mao Mao's braided hair and kisses her hair. I can't tell if it's just her imagination. Did the aphrodisiac get to her? Okay, let's see where the so-called beautiful eunuch is taking this. Jinshi tells a woman something and she runs out of the room crying. I think she's one of the emperor's baby mama. The next scene, a serving girl is attacked by something believed to be a spirit. The rumor goes round the place that there's an evil spirit going around the rear palace and killing people. But as usual, Mao Mao makes nothing of it. Mao Mao goes to the royal physician's place and she's perplexed because a while ago he was so wary of her. And now he even makes her tea. Why is he so laid back? Just about to take tea and cookies from the physician, that evil spirit called Jinshi shows up and says he wants some, and the physician goes to bring some more. She didn't get to take any. Jinshi asks her if she knows anything about sleepwalking, and she denies and says it has nothing to do with medicine, but Jinshi persists and, well, she gave in to do what she can. Wait, that means Jinshi knows the so-called sleepwalker that's killing people and the name is Evil Spirit. Nightfall. Jinshi's assistant walks Mao Mao somewhere. During transit, he tells her to stop looking at eunuch Jinshi like he's a woman-eating maggot. I still don't understand why he's touched by her condescending looks. I'm beginning to think that guy is packing down there. Jinshi's assistant leads her to see the so-called evil spirit. It's a beautiful princess that's been... Wait, she's very pretty and she's dancing on top of a wall with a dress that glows under the moonlight. It's serene. Both Mao Mao and I are in amazed. The princess has been neglected by the emperor because she's supposedly said to be a wonderful dancer, but she tripped while dancing for him. Ever since then, the emperor just threw her aside and has now decided to marry her off to a military man. Ever since the news reached her about the marriage, she's been sleepwalking, dancing, and attacking people at night. She's the wandering evil spirit. I feel so bad for her. Mao Mao is informed about all this, and she requests to see her to know more about her condition. Mao Mao goes to spy on the princess with Jinshi's assistant. She returns and tells concubine Gyokuyu and Jinshi about the same sleepwalking she encountered in the Verdigris house. She speculates that the sleepwalking is caused by stress, and the princess would stop sleepwalking if the wedding with the military man was cancelled. Concubine Gyokuyu and Jinshi nods in agreement, and Mao Mao takes her leave. The princess is called Lady Fuyu. Lady Fuyu is confined to her room till the day of her bestowal. Eunuchs are kept to watch her. Mao Mao wonders if that's a good decision. Concubine Gyokuyu notices that Mao Mao has been behaving strangely. After a while, Concubine Gyokuyu confronts Mao Mao and tells her that Mao Mao could tell her anything. I guess Mao Mao is behaving out of the norm because what she said is not what they did. Mao Mao tells Concubine Gyokuyu a story about another courtesan at the Verdigris house and likens it to that of Lady Fuyu. As they speak, Lady Fuyu takes her leave to her bestowal. I don't know if I should be sad for her. Mao Mao makes a crazy speculation. She tells Concubine Gyokuyu that since Lady Fuyu and the military officer are from the same town, it is possible that they both had feelings for each other, and Lady Fuyu foiled her presentation to the emperor on purpose so he wouldn't touch her, knowing fully well that as a military man, he could not propose to a princess. The military man at the best opportunity to choose a reward for himself strongly requested for Lady Fuyu. It is possible that Lady Fuyu faked her sleepwalking, so that the emperor does not grow a sudden interest in her because she wants to be with the military man and does not want to ruin her chance to be with her love. With that being said, it's still all speculations. The gates are opened and Lady Fuyu sees the military man and her dim face lights up. They walk out like lovebirds. So Mao Mao's speculations were actually true. Concubine Gyokuyu states that she's jealous of Lady Fuyu. Truth to be told though, the military officer is a fine man. What I was expecting was not what I saw at all. The emperor visits the Jade Pavilion to see the concubine with the surviving child. Mao Mao carries out her regular sensory evaluation of the food before the emperor and concubine dig in. As she gets up to leave, the emperor requests she takes care of concubine Li Hua, who lost her male child. This scares Mao Mao, who had never seen the emperor with her two eyes before, not to even talk of him speaking to her. Mao Mao reports to the Crystal Pavilion to treat concubine Li Hua, but her ladies-in-waiting reject the medicine for their so-called concubine, saying Lady Li Hua cannot be fed such lowly food. Honestly, with this attitude, this concubine is going to lose another child soon. That's if God smiles down on her arrogant self with another. Mao Mao tries again 2 days in a row and gets kicked out by the ladies-in-waiting. In fact, concubine Li Hua chokes on the so-called very nutritious meal her servants feed her, and Mao Mao instantly gets blamed for it. Mao Mao gives it another try. The beautiful eunuch shows up to finally be useful with his charms. He charms concubine Li Hua's servants into letting Mao Mao examine their mistress. Mao Mao finally examines concubine Li Hua and finds out that the same poisonous powder that killed her child was still being used on her as makeup. Mao Mao walks up to where the lady-in-waiting is and asks who was in charge of the makeup. I thought she was going to report to the emperor, but what small and feeble a mind I possess. Just before we know what is going on, Mao Mao gives her a resounding, well-deserved face dusting. Mao Mao pulls her by the hair and takes her where the makeup is, and pours the powder all over her, and gives her the details on how the powder is going to make her sick, just like her mistress. This high and mighty wimp of a servant starts crying. Mao Mao begins to give off Eren Yeager vibes, subtle voice, half-opened bossy eyelids, beating up the weak, the wrong. The classic Eren Yeager justice. She begins to give out orders like she is the empress herself. Truly respect is given to those that deserve it, and also the lady-in-waiting is put behind bars. Concubine Li Hua gets better after a while. Mao Mao is tired. Of course, she's probably working 2 pavilions. While she suns the laundry, Jinshi and his assistant bring gifts for their favorite apothecary. Mao Mao uses her high and mighty demeaning charms to get Jinshi to prepare a steam bath for concubine Li Hua. Truly, lust is blind. Mao Mao sits beside concubine Li Hua, watching over her. Concubine Li Hua questions why Mao Mao would not let her die. Mao Mao replies, saying if she wanted to die, she could have stopped eating the food she was being fed. The lady-in-waiting was released from confinement, and she was so happy to see her mistress in good shape. They actually care for their mistress, but ignorance, arrogance, and stupidity would have let them kill this fine, mouth-watering, and sumptuous-looking concubine. I see why she was the emperor's favorite. After a while, concubine Li Hua was able to move around. Mao Mao informs concubine Li Hua that she would be taking her leave the day after. The concubine puts forth her concerns and insecurity about being able to birth again. Mao Mao advises she gives it a try. The concubine tells Mao Mao that she is not sure the emperor would want her anymore. She compares herself with Mao Mao's mistress. Mao Mao tells her that she was sent by the emperor to take care of her, and also tells her she has powerful men-attracting qualities that Lady Gyokuyu lacks. Mao Mao whispers a certain secret she learned from the verdigris brothel house that Mao Mao herself cannot use because even she lacks the endowment concubine Li Hua possesses. Mao Mao returns to the Jade Palace and receives a warm welcome from her fellow lady-in-waiting. The Crystal Pavilion has better-looking servants. Well, I guess concubine Gyokuyu chose brains over the dumb beauties that concubine Li Hua settled for. The emperor's visit to the Jade Pavilion reduced drastically. Now we know our emperor loves his jolly melons, just like I do. Flashes of wood being burnt and voila, we discover that another curse is born. The doctor goes in to bring what's required to prepare their sumptuous meal, and while they savor their mushroom meal, the man from the first scene with the cursed hands shows up and asks if they can make a cure for his curse. Mao Mao makes an ointment while he enlightens us all about the newly arrived curse. It all began 2 nights ago. You know the story already began. He was doing his usual duty of burning the waste that comes out of the rare palace. I have come to the conclusion that nothing good comes out of that part of the palace. It's called rare for a reason. When a wooden tablet wrapped in a burnt woman's clothes fell from the trash, he picked it up in curiosity but goes ahead to throw it into the fire anyway. And all of a sudden, the flames of the fire increased and the color of the flames changed, just like when spellcasters cast a spell, and during manifestation the flames would change color. I hope they have not introduced witchcraft into this. Mao Mao puts on a little magic show, lighting a fire stick and changing its color, explaining how certain compounds cause fire to change its color. She tells him that the reaction on his hands is probably to a certain compound on the wooden tablets. We hear applause. It's Jinshi. He takes her aside and questions her about the magic show she put on, and just as she's about to leave, he tells her he likes his own steam-boiled, the mushroom that is. Mao Mao walks in on a garden party preparation at the Jade Pavilion. She's given a new dress, and enlightened on how the king is unmarried and has not for himself an empress consort, making it customary for all 4 of the high-ranking concubines to be present at the party. If you ask me, I would just tell you that the emperor is just keeping his option. I'm sure the emperor has to roll dice just to select who he's going to spend time with. Mao Mao makes arrangements for the difficulties she is likely to face at the garden party event. She makes sweets to increase blood flow and keep her warm. She also makes an inner vest to keep her warm using warm stones. A lady-in-waiting walks in on her and inquires about what she was doing. And that's how our selfless Mao Mao makes more than a dozen inner vests for a lot of people, the emperor's seamstress herself. Mao Mao needs more credit for the work she's putting in for this ungrateful rare palace occupants. Concubine Gyokuyu adds a little extra finesse on her ladies. She decorates them with jewelry on the day of the party. Jinshi goes about greeting the high-ranking concubines. He greets concubine Gyokuyu last. I know he is like a wholly castrated playboy, but he gives the best compliments. He doesn't even recognize Mao Mao with her freckles off. Apparently she puts on freckles to avoid being dragged down an alley and messed with. Mao Mao shares her story of how she was kidnapped and sold. She expresses how it angers her. Jinshi seems sympathetic and gives her his hairpin in disguise of patting her hair. Jinshi for the first time keeps a straight face. It's so unlike him. Jinshi takes his leave and Mao Mao takes off the hairpin, and she wonders why he gave her a man's hairpin. Wait, men have hairpins? The other ladies in waiting gather around Mao Mao to admire the pin and act like me when I see my girl take off her bra. Excitement! Concubine Gyokuyu takes the pin from Mao Mao and puts it back in her hair. She tells Mao Mao that she is no longer hers alone. Just as Mao Mao tries to ask what she meant by that, the party drums are played to signify the beginning of the party. I can feel some kind of drama about to flare up, and I can't wait to know what is going to happen. Thanks for watching, fellow weebs. If you enjoyed this recap, dive into the next video or playlist. And don't forget to check out our cool anime hoodies in the description below. See you in the next recap.